Hey, good afternoon to you, and welcome to yet another Uckfield Business Podcast with me, Ian Noble from Uckfield Chamber of Commerce. It's a busy day for us at Uckfield Chamber because not only we've got the podcast live this lunchtime, but tonight we have our annual general meeting at East Sussex National, where we've got over 70 of our members joining us for the AGM tonight. So we're really looking forward to that. So it's a busy old day here in Uckfield. The big news for us this month, I suppose, is the Uckfield Business Awards have been launched. We do this every other year. Biennially is the official word, every other year, last held in 2024. And we have the Business Awards coming up in 2026. On the 1st of October, to be precise, will be the gala dinner at East Sussex National. We have over 15 categories, I should say, 12 for businesses and 3 for individuals. And these are open to any Uckfield business that's based in the TN22 or BN8 postcode areas, or they have a telephone exchange of 01825. Some people are still using landlines. Or they're an Uckfield Chamber member, but outside of that area, just like our guest today. So our guest today, allow me to introduce you to who's joining me here, is Melissa Conybeare from Fizz on Foot. So Melissa, if you'd like to unmute yourself, really nice to see you this afternoon. How are you?
Hi, Ian. Yeah, great to be here. Very well. The sun is pretty much shining down here in Eastbourne, which is always a great start to the day.
It is, and it's shining here in Uckfield as well. So we have the same weather. And of course, you've already alluded, you're down in Eastbourne on the Sunshine Coast, but you're also a member of Uckfield Chamber of Commerce, which is why we've got you on the show this afternoon. And it's great that you're able to join us because your business is just a little bit different to any other member that we have at Uckfield Chamber amongst our 230 odd members here in Uckfield. So we're going to get to know you a little bit this afternoon. We'll run through for about half an hour or so, give or take. So, Melissa, you own Fizz on Foot. Tell us a little bit about how that came about, how long you've been the owner of this business, and then we'll talk about what the business is and how people can get involved. So, tell us about Fizz on Foot, how you came to own it, and how long you've been doing that.
Great. Well, actually, I've only been owning the business for less than a year. So I took it over officially in July 2025 from Ian Shearer, who was also a member of the Chamber and introduced me to you all. I actually went on a tour 3 years ago with Ian and Penny, who took me and my sister out for the day. Absolutely loved it. And I'd been studying wine for 6 years and really got into my WSETs and then going deep dive in different
Stop there.
regions as well.
WSETs. What's a
Awesome.
WSET?
It's Wine Spirit Education Trust. So it
Of
is
course it
the
is.
educational board. Yeah. So believe it or not, I don't just sit and drink a lot of wine and pretend to be a wine expert. I have gone through quite a lot of different exams, some of which do involve tasting, but yeah, lots of exams. And I just found it very interesting. And I started actually doing the exams because I wanted to learn more about wine from a career perspective. I was in the PR world. I was a client relationship manager.
Okay.
And I used to go out and entertain clients a lot. And when the wine list came onto the table, I always saw it as a bit of a power play as to who takes the wine list and who kind of chooses the wine. And I wanted to be a bit more educational than just, I don't know, the second one from the top or the,
That's what most people do, don't they? They don't choose the cheapest one at the top, which is the house wine.
Yeah.
It's the next one down. I'll have the Malbec, please, at £28 a bottle. Yeah.
The Malbec or the Sauvignon Blanc were my trusty go-tos. So I was like, no, how can I be a bit more kind of thoughtful in my choices and start conversations with clients? So that's why I went into it personally. And then when I met Ian and Penny, they said, oh, well, if you love wine, why don't you come to our monthly wine evenings where they talk about different regions and also join their wine club. So we became great friends, essentially. And Ian had set it up 14 years ago as his
Okay.
retirement business.
Yeah.
So he sent an email out last year saying he's actually going to retire. I'm sure he won't mind me saying he turns 80 this year, big birthday milestone for him.
Mm. He looks
And
good on it. I'll give him
he,
that. It looks good on it.
he
Yeah.
looks very good for his age. And so he said in his email, I'm going to actually retire. I don't know what the future will look like, but I'll see what I can do. So I emailed him back saying, can we have a conversation about what that might look like?
Yeah.
He said within 30 seconds. I'm not sure, it might have been a minute after he sent the email out, I responded. But here we are. I was very lucky that he picked me to take the business on.
Cool.
I think obviously with my wine background and enthusiasm for the outdoors, and my marketing background, he saw it as a good fit to try and
Yeah.
take it forward.
Very definitely. Now, I don't suppose when you were 14 or 15 at school, you thought, I know what I want to do. I want to own a walk and wine business, you know. When
Funny you
you were
should say
younger, when you were
that.
younger, Melissa, what did you want to be? You know, what did you want to be when you grew up, when you were younger?
Well, it's a very difficult kind of question. I thought about that in some depth. I originally really wanted to be an air steward. I wanted to
Yeah.
travel a lot. I saw it as
Fly.
glamorous when I was younger. And then
Yeah.
I realized actually serving people in confined spaces, the general public, perhaps wasn't for me. So then I really wanted, once I got a bit older, wanted to go into film promotion, doing film trailers. And I did a lot of work experience through university at that and realized actually you need to work in the center of London for 5 years on very little money in that industry.
Mm.
So PR and marketing it was, which paid
Yeah.
a little bit better and helped me grow. So that's how I got into it. And I loved it for 15, yeah, just over 15 years, I think I was in that career. And
Yeah.
very grateful to be in it. But now so much happier outside and enjoying the wine that we have on offer here.
Very good, very good. And of course, it was your love of wine that you know, and you established that in your PR role, as you've already alluded
Mm,
to with the wine lists and things. And then this opportunity came up, which must have been a dream job for you, really, when you first heard about it. How
absolutely.
how do you develop yourself now and keep yourself motivated? I mean, it's still quite new to you, so I suppose it's
Mm.
relatively easy. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I'd say obviously I love what I do, which is great, but the the jump from going from a corporate always on job at your screen to working for
mm,
yourself is very, very difficult. I underestimated, I think, the difficulty of one setting up on your own, and also not like you constantly had that anxiety of if you're not at your screen, are you developing the business, are you
mm,
progressing, are you succeeding?
mm.
So finding what your levels and your gears of success are very different to compared to, you know, in the corporate world where they're very clear levels and
Mm,
guidance of what you need to be doing. So I did find that leap very difficult, but equally you know, being able to say, okay, Mondays, I'm going to go and do a recce of a walk that I'm going to take on people from new tours. I'm going to go and speak to new vineyards. I'm going
mm,
to bring in some new wines for the different online wine shop aspects is so exciting. So I'm trying
mm,
not to put the pressure on myself that I left. I'm trying not to
mm.
put on myself now, which actually takes quite a lot of time to do.
Yeah, yeah. So they're all things to do with your specific business, the sector
Mm,
that you're in, of course. You know, the wines, the vineyards, the recce of the walks, and all the rest of it. And we will come and talk about the business in a minute,
mm,
and how people can get involved and how people can become clients of yours. But what about other things? Because running a small business, especially for the first time, you know, when you've been used to the corporate world, there are challenges whichever way you turn. What other
mm.
things maybe keep you awake at night? You know, I mean, there's business rates, um, there's you know all the self-employment tax returns and all the rest of it. You know, how have you got on with that aspect of it in the early years?
Yeah, so far I have to say that's not been challenging, but I think this the key to that has been finding the right advisors around you,
Yeah.
and not being so insular into it. It would be so easy to try and tackle it all myself.
Mm,
But one of the biggest things that I've kind of learned is just because I can doesn't mean I should.
Yeah.
So and I take that mentality with me. Just because I can do my online taxes myself doesn't mean I should. My time is probably and my energy is spent much more elsewhere. So getting my right, accountant that I get on well with, my business development coaches that you get on well with, that you can bounce ideas off of.
Mm, mm,
I've also spent some time investing in how to, despite actually coming from a PR and marketing background, but how to market myself
mm,
as well. And I've had a great coach on that aspect, because putting yourself on camera like this or on social is very
mm,
different to advising clients to do so. So I've spent a lot of time trying to find the right people that I gel with to help me manage those successes and those areas of the business that perhaps I think I probably would struggle with if I
mm.
tried to take it all on myself. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think generally, Melissa, that's good advice for anyone starting out in business on their own, that
Mhm.
don't try and do everything yourself. Um,
Mm.
Identify the people that can support you best with the skill sets that will help move your business forward at the right pace and in the right direction. So good for you in that respect.
Mhm.
So let's come and talk about the business, because I know you're itching to do that. About what you do. Tell us about what you offer then with Fizz on Foot. What does it look like? Some great pictures here. So for those of you listening back on the podcast, Melissa, I'll let you describe some of the photographs that we're looking at here.
Perfect. Well, the first one in the top corner is myself on the very first tour I did 3 years ago with Ian. So that was me and my sister with Ian out for our tour, and what made me fall in love with the business and with the local wine scene as well. So in terms of what we offer for the day that you see in some of these images here, it's the walk. So whether it's the iconic Seven Sisters, whether we go round Hurstman Zoo Castle, Bodiam Castle, or the historic walk of Alfriston, it's about getting out there and seeing the beautiful countryside we have on our doorstep.
Yeah.
Then we take people for a pub lunch with a glass of wine, and then to a local vineyard as well. So that's the kind of core tour area of the business, the fizz
Okay.
and the foot.
Yeah.
Some people like less foot and more fizz, so I might do vineyard, pub, vineyard, particularly through the winter months. That's quite popular. And then
I was going to ask
we'll
you, actually, if I could just interrupt a second. Is it seasonal? How much seasonality is it? Because I would imagine there's more demand for this in the spring, summer, and then when there's
yeah.
nice weather than not.
Exactly. So 2 weeks ago, when the sun started coming out, the inquiries came in quite quickly. However, I think at the beginning of the year, people also start looking at things to do for their corporate away days. People are planning their hen parties. So actually, the inquiries come in, but they might not have their booking till later on in the year and in the summer. But
Mm,
because the English wine scene is growing so rapidly, actually a lot of vineyards themselves are happy to be open through the winter, because they still want to promote their wines, what they've got coming up in the following year, what they're trialing. So you're seeing so many vineyards trialing new grape varieties, new blends, which is so
mm,
exciting. And when you can take tours to go and see, particularly the smaller intimate vineyards, and they can really see actually the development that goes into making the wine and the passion that goes into making the wine. You taste that when you're tasting the wine as well, don't you? Really, you take on board everything that
sure.
you've experienced that day. So that's the premise of the tour aspects.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then we have the wine tasting evenings as well that you can see in the images. So I do a different theme each month
Hmm.
in Eastbourne, and that can be so. Tomorrow, in fact, I've got my next one, which is Old World versus New World wines, and it's
Okay.
going to be blind tasting. And
Oh, fun.
then, yeah, and then in April is English wine. So
Okay.
I
So
thought
tomorrow
kind of
evening, tell us a little bit. Is that sold out already, or can people
it
still
is
book on
sold
that?
out. Yeah,
Sold
that
out.
one's sold
Okay.
out already. So that's at the Lansdowne hotel, which
And how many
is a
people
great
do you
venue.
limit it to on a evening one?
So that one, because it's a bit more interactive and we're going to be doing some quizzes rather than me just talking about the wines,
Mm,
we're limited. Well, it's 20, but there's actually 21 people
okay.
coming. You can't say no to the odd one. Um, and then for the dinners and the events, the largest we've had so far is 47. So they can be a lot bigger, and I just make sure I've got a microphone so everyone can
Yeah.
hear me on
Yeah.
those ones.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
now, the name of the business, Fizz on Foot, that wasn't your idea. That Ian came up with that 14
Mhm.
years ago. Which is, now I love the alliteration, of course. You know that's. But people then might imagine, well, is it always fizzy wine? Is it always the
Mm,
English version of champagne that you're tasting, or not? And I imagine the answer is it's all wines.
exactly. It is all wines. And I think it's a great alliteration. The wine tasting evenings we call pop on pour. So that's a little bit different, that sits under the Fizz on Foot business. And a lot of vineyards, whilst English sparkling is what's putting us on the map internationally.
Sure,
So English sparkling last year won the International Sparkling Awards in the blind taste. So they beat the champagne houses, and that was Nye Timber that did
amazing.
that. So English sparkling is becoming more renowned internationally. We get an awful lot of the Nordics coming across because the government there buy and control the wine, so they buy a lot of English sparkling.
Mm,
So that is kind of the buzz, I think, around English wine at the moment. But we've got some faithful grape varieties as well. So you've got your Bacchus, which is performing really well over here. And then Pinot Gris grapes and Chardonnay, obviously used for the sparkling,
mm,
is great. And we're seeing a rise of English reds as well. Obviously, with the Pinot Noir, it's a very light skinned, sensitive grape variety. So when we have harsh years like 2024,
mm.
we couldn't make any red wine. But now, like last year, 2025, was a great summer, and Pinot Noir did really well. So you'll start to see this year, I think, some even better Pinot Noir and reds coming from the English vineyards as well.
I must look out for it. I love a red wine,
Yeah.
me. So Pinot Noir is the one to go for. Yeah, it's good. We're learning
Perfect.
stuff on this podcast. It's all good, you know. It's all good. That's fantastic. Um, so, how many clients have you got in total, Melissa? Roughly, you know, how many people are you in contact with? That you email out your database?
So database is about 350 that get the kind of regular emails that go out.
And how do
And
people join that? If people are listening to this and they think, "Well, this sounds fantastic. Where has this been in my life? How can I get involved?" What would you
yeah.
say to them?
So we've got a sign up to a newsletter on our website, so fizzonfoot.com. You can sign up to the newsletter there. I try and keep it to one monthly email that goes out, which has all of the wine tasting evenings, tours that are coming up. We also have our membership club. So we try and really build the local community spirit here as well. So encourage businesses to offer something to our members. It's £20 for the year, so it's very small membership fee,
Mhm.
but you
Yeah,
can get kind of in some of our restaurants 10%, 5% off meals, 5% off of our wine pairing dinners and tours. So you get that money back straight away if you go out
yeah,
for a night out in locally. So again, that's kind of trying to boost people to try, yeah, some more local eateries and things as well.
sure, sure. Fantastic. It sounds amazing. It sounds absolutely amazing. And I just want to be part of it now. I need to come along to one of your events for sure. And I'm sure others watching this will feel likewise. Now, you're in Eastbourne. You know, you're a member of Uckfield Chamber, as we said at the top of the show.
Mhm,
Um, what about supporting your local community? How do you get involved with that, Melissa? You know, the
mhm.
corporate social responsibility aspect for a business owner.
Yeah. So I think for us, what stands out probably the most to answer that question is we have a charity of the year.
Okay,
So last year we had the Children's Respite Trust. We raised just over 4,000 for them across the year.
amazing.
Um, And this year, our charity partner of the year is St Wilfrid's. So
Okay.
our local hospice,
Yeah.
it's a charity that means an awful lot to me and my family. So we do raffles for them at all of our dinners, and get involved in their activities when we can. So yeah, I'd say that's probably the biggest aspect
You decide that
of it.
yourself, who the charity is going to be, or do you put it out as a vote to people?
No, interesting you should say that. I decided it myself this year.
Yeah.
As I say, just because St Wilfrid's have been such an amazing
Yeah.
hospice to our family,
Yeah.
that I wanted to give back. But I've had a few requests from members as well as to different charities that they're involved in, and I think it would be great to put it out to members and as you say, do a voting mechanism, because it's always difficult. Do you go
Mm.
for children's charities? Do you go
Yeah.
for illness-based charities? And there's so many out there that are all very worthy. And yeah, yeah.
That's fantastic. You picked two charities you mentioned are both members of our chamber, and of course, Children's Respite Trust, very much centred on Uckfield. We know Gavin and his team very, very well, so that's fantastic. I mean, one of the questions I always ask people on this podcast is like, you clearly work hard at what you do. You work hard, and I'm sure people that work hard tend to play hard as well. Now, some people, to answer this next question, would say, well, I enjoy going out and have a glass of wine to unwind. But what about you? How do you relax out of work, Melissa?
Well, yeah, I have to try and say not drink wine, as
Yeah.
that's also my job. But I guess for me, my kind of hobby is fuse glass. So I actually play with glass and melt
Okay.
glass, and I melt bottles as well. So that's my kind of artistic outlet. But equally, again, part of my day job is being outside, and I love taking the dog out
Yeah.
up on the downs and just blow away the cobwebs. And yeah, for me, being outside is what I love doing.
And even the glass aspect is related to wine. So wine bottles, wine glasses,
Exactly. Yeah.
it's all linked, isn't it? It's all linked. That's fantastic. One final question for you, Melissa, this lunchtime. What advice would you give to your younger self at 16?
Hmm. Yeah, I had to again really think about this one. And for me, I would say I always felt the pressure to do things quickly. So if you had an idea, you want to do it, and if you're not doing it quickly, you're not succeeding. But actually, I think taking the time to fully understand and work out the direction that you want to go in, you might zigzag to your end point, but you're always kind of what you always are moving forwards. So don't ever feel like because things aren't moving as quick as you would like, or as you're not, you're not setting up your own business at the age of
Mm, mm.
25, that you're not a success. So I think don't rush into things. Things will happen when it naturally suits and fits. That would be my
Brilliant. Well, that's
advice.
fantastic advice. Yeah, really, really good. Thank you. Thank you. So people want to get involved. The website address is fizzonfoot.com.
It is. It was
Yeah,
brand new launch this year, so revitalized.
fizzonfoot.com. And it's easy to remember that, isn't it? We don't need to put it on the screen or anything like that. But we will remind people of it maybe when we push out on social media later when we can this podcast. And then your membership club is £20 per annum, which is cheap at twice the price. To get discounts in various locations, presumably most of those locations around your area of Eastbourne where they get
Yes,
discounts. Yeah,
correct. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's good. Okay, look, Melissa, thank you so much for joining us. Is there anything else that you want to add that we haven't discussed this afternoon?
No, I think thank you for having me. It's been great to have the discussion. Obviously,
Yeah,
Uckfield Chamber is a great chamber. And again, it's one of those areas where you find people that you can lean on and support to help when
yeah,
you are, setting up a business on your own. So I
yeah.
am forever grateful for everyone at the chamber as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your kind words. Melissa, stay with us. We're going to just be talking to sign off this lunchtime to talk about some of our events that are coming up. And as soon as this evening, I said this at the top of the show, we have our annual general meeting tonight. It's at the East Sussex National in the Roundel Suite upstairs. We have over 70 members booked in to attend. It's the only event that we offer in person that's free of charge. We felt it was a bit harsh to charge our members to come to an AGM, but it's tonight 6 p.m. for a 6:30 start, and you do have to have signed in and booked in to attend that one tonight. So that's later on today. But moving forward, we have an event that's coming up, which we put on the first one of these last year, Melissa. We had 15 people booked on to do a pitch perfect workshop. I don't know whether you've ever been to a networking event, Melissa, and you get a 60-second elevator pitch and you think, oh my goodness, what am I going to say? And you want to create a good positive first impression. Some of these people you've never met before in the room. So to get that pitch right, we offer the opportunity for our members to attend a workshop. It's a 2-hour workshop. It's on Monday, the 13th of April, 9:30 till 11:30 a.m. in our Civic Centre in the centre of town, free of charge to members. For non-members, just £15. And we've already sold more than half the tickets for this one. And again, if you want to attend, you can book via the Chamber website for this workshop event that's coming up in April. And then just 2 days later, we have the next of our informal business lunches. Now, these lunches are the most informal event that we have. I don't know, they might be similar to your lunches that you put on, Melissa, where people just chat. There's no elevator pitches, there's no speeches as such. People just chat over lunch, and they might have a glass of wine, they might have a beer. But we're going to the Piltdown Man, which is just outside of town, and they've given us a slight discount on their burger offer, with burgers, chicken burgers, veggie burgers for £16. No need to pay in advance for this one. You just register your interest on the Chamber website and then pay the venue on the day. But sign up as always via the Chamber website. And it's a busy month, April, because the following week on St. George's Day, no less, we have on Thursday, the 23rd of April, the next of our Chamber networking breakfasts, where everyone has the opportunity of a 60-second elevator pitch. And this one, it costs £17.50 plus fees for a full English breakfast. They put on a really good breakfast at Trading Boundaries. Again, a lovely venue. We're really blessed in Uckfield to have so many great venues that we can visit around the town and the surrounding villages. And our speaker for this one is a lovely lady who's been a member of the Chamber for some time, Catherine Colas, and she is an expert on the menopause. Now, she's going to be talking about managing the menopause in the workplace. Obviously, it only affects 50% of the population directly, but it affects us all indirectly. And I remember when my wife went through this, and it was getting the windows down in the car when it was freezing cold and all the rest of it. And I didn't get it. I didn't understand. But Catherine will take us through some of the important aspects to understand on this important subject that does impact on the workplace. So that breakfast event, it's already more than 50% sold out. So if you'd like to attend, jump on there quickly to book your place. And then we have finally, and this is after our next podcast, but I put this in here, Melissa, really for you, because our next members meeting after tonight is at Bluebell Vineyard. And you've been to this one before, I think, haven't you?
I have. Oh, I've won with you guys last year in the summer. But equally, they are one that we frequent quite a lot with our tours. It's an amazing vineyard. They've got some great wines, some great sparkling. Their Meunier one is actually one of my favourites. It's on my top 5 list. So I'd say, yeah, definitely worthwhile visiting, and especially when you get to do so in such a great setting with you guys.
Yeah, thank you. So this is on Thursday, the 21st of May, 6 p.m. Until around about 8:30. And on this occasion, we're always greeted with a glass of sparkling from Bluebell Vineyard. That's all included in the cost of just £10 for members plus fees. And we subsidise that quite a bit. So these evening members meetings for the Chamber, they cost us more than we charge our members. They are great occasions, great networking opportunities. And normally, fingers crossed, it's always a nice evening and we can look out over the rolling vineyards at Bluebell. So that one will be open for booking very soon. I don't think it's open just yet, we'll get that one open this week now that the AGM, well, once the AGM is out the way this evening. And that brings us to the end of our future events bid at the end of this podcast. We'll next go live on air on Thursday, the 30th of April at midday again. And our guest on that occasion will be Julianne Green, whose business is JXG Management Solutions. And Julianne is an absolute expert on the subject that can be quite dry. No pun intended when it comes to wine. It's not that kind of dry. GDPR. She's an absolute authority on this. So it's something that we all need to know about. And Julianne will be joining us in April. So Melissa, thank you again for joining us today. It's been a pleasure. Thank you to our producer guy, Gordon, in the background, who's done a fantastic job. I hope you'll agree. And if you're watching this live, thank you for joining us. If you're watching it on catch up, thank you for doing so. Have a great rest of the day, everyone.
Thank you.